Greetings, fellow humans. Bad Mark here with another transmission from MechTech Keyboards. And today we're taking a look at the big brother of a couple keyboards that I've already taken a look at. The star of today's video is the Halo96. So I first started, I reached out to NuPhy and I asked, hey, can I get one of your Halos to try out? I think it's very interesting and I'd like to review it on my channel. So Madison, who is marketing, or I believe she's head of marketing over at NuPhy, she was like, yeah, sure, I'll send it out to you. And I loved it a lot. They enjoyed the original video that I did on the 75. So they sent me out the 65, which is, I've also done a video on that one, just the stock. What I'm going to do today is just some stock, but I'm going to come back to all of them and I'm going to see what kind of different sounds I can get with them, because I mean they're all very similar structurally. They're bigger and everything, but they don't have any breakouts, or at least any exploded, clusters, because I think that does kind of affect the sound on some keyboards, where you have a TKL and where the main, setup of your alphas and mods are. You also have the separate keys. Now, obviously, a lot of people don't do sound tests and use those, but how much of that sound escapes? I find it that keyboards that are compressed seem to have a deeper tone. No scientific evidence, just my opinion. Anyway, so this is the 96%, or the 1800. Not truly an 1800, it's more of a I don't know. I've seen people call, oh no, that's not a 96, that's 1800. No, that's not an 1800, that's a 96. Well, it's a 96%, that's what we're going to call it today, because that's the name of it. So anyway, this keyboard, or this series, this family, the Halo, has completely surprised me. As many keyboards as I review, it's rare that I come across one that stands out. I come across good ones and bad ones all the time, and even the good ones, they're good, but this is just another IK75, or this is just another this one, or this is similar to that one, but they added this, or they changed the plate, or like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my knobs, and I love 75% with knobs, but how many more can we have? But for a lot of people out there, they're asking, what's a good one to get? I think the Monsky M1, as far as aluminum goes, if you want a 75% with knob, is a pretty decent keyboard. It does require some mods to get to it, but if you don't want to bother with the mods, you just want a keyboard comes out of the box and it sounds and it feels good, you're not going to be disappointed with this. And you'll see once we get to the sound test. But let's go ahead and get through it and do an unboxing. So as with all Halo keyboards, we get her NuPhy waifu. I don't know if she has a name, or if she's from a particular show, or if she was just drawn up specifically for NuPhy. I don't know. But on the side, we have what we're dealing with. We have KOP PBT keycaps, which are very decent quality keycaps. 2.4 gigahertz low delay. They've added some, I don't know the specifics, but they've added some more logic to how the 2.4 gigahertz works. And the few times I have tried it on the other models, I was surprised because there was literally no delay. For me, for the short amount of time I used it, I'm primarily wired, but to test it, I was surprised at the amount, or the lack of, latency. It felt to me like I was plugged in with both the 2.4 and the 5 Bluetooth 5, which I do usually prefer Bluetooth 5. It's a hot swappable keyboard. It's north-facing LEDs. It has halo light effect, which is very interesting. They have the LEDs on the side of the PCB, but instead of them just shining out towards the outside, because it has an outer perimeter halo glow, it also, it's the same plastic piece, glows into the inner cavity of where the keys sit. And I haven't seen another keyboard like that. And not only is it cool, they did a good job of it. I mean, they did a really good implementation. So that's what the side light means. Now, here we're dealing with a 96%. For the majority of people, this is going to do it. If you're using a full size and you need a full size, a 96% is going to work. It does have an aluminum top case with an ABS bottom case. Honestly, I love it, because to me, I love the feel and the substantiality of aluminum. it's great in my opinion. But I'm not the biggest fan of how full aluminum cases sound. I prefer plastic. So this having a bottom ABS and a top aluminum gives you the best of both worlds. Not only do you have an aluminum, but you're going to have the sound of a good ABS case. But I mean, I know some people will argue that, but that's just my opinion. It does include a good damper kit, which means it has very thick, has an IPXC, I believe, sheet above the PCB, I want to say pour-on between the plate and the PCB, and then what looks like a silicone mat underneath. Now the battery does seem to be attached to the back of the PCB with a little like pop-off case. I'm just speaking from videos I've watched. I've not had a chance to take these apart yet, but I have a list of videos that I want to do with these Halos and see if I can get different sounds out of them and maybe mod them. We'll see. But I've got a lot of ideas because I do enjoy this keyboard and the series of keyboards. I've been cycling through them, and I'm really hard pressed to find any negatives about these keyboards because they're well designed, they're well built. They did what I think is a good selection of switches, and even though the switches do not come pre-lubed, except for the Gatoron Gs, because you can get the Gatoron G Pros, those do come pre-lubed. But the Rose, Glacier, and the Night Breeze, not, but they still sound great. So, although I did one key on the 65, and it did sound a little better. I just donut dipped the spring, and it made a difference. Yes, it does have a dedicated switch. I'm taking a look. This is the 75, but this one right here is a dedicated switch for Mac or Windows mode. I know a lot of people that use Mac and they prefer a hard switch, a physical switch. Sometimes a physical switch is just so much better than having to remember what key combination this particular keyboard has to go from Windows to Mac. Now, I'm of the opinion, I doubt it will never happen, but as more manufacturers move to using QMK and VIA, I would like to see a standard set of controls that just work across all keyboards, and that's how they come preloaded, whether they have QMK VIA or whether they have some other firmware, closed source software to control them. They should all have the same controls. They should have the default mappings so that all keyboards basically match. That way, I mean, I'm drowning in keyboards, but sometimes I pick one up and I haven't used it in a while. I'm like, what's the function key to change the colors? Or how do I turn it off? Or how do I switch from Mac mode to Windows mode? And I have to go look online. But if all keyboards came standard, like a USB, the standardization, I would love to see a standardization for keyboards. Who knows? I mean, that would honestly save a lot of time and headaches for a lot of people. But will that happen? So let's go ahead and take a look at what's in this box. A nice keyboard. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I love how well packed these things are. They're truly, I mean, they ship internationally, but they are very well packed. All right, so let's go ahead and open this keyboard up. And here we are. Here is the Halo96. Now, as you can see, it does come with a dust cover. And I actually have the dust covers. I put these somewhere, and I need to remember where I put them. But that's going to go there for now. Watch me misplace that. And then we have our waifu. We have the cute waifu and the anime waifu. I don't get it. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I don't get it. I'm an anime fan from back in the Mazinger Z days, Captain Harlock, but I haven't really kept up. Attack on Titan is probably the newest anime that I've watched. Anyway, we have that. We also have a Halo96 quick start guide, which gives you the basics on how to connect to 2.4 Bluetooth and how to do some of the controls with lights. We also have what they call a Q&A, or it's an FAQ, which basically answers some of the more common questions you're going to have. Now, on their Discord and on their website, they have a lot of information, and their team on the Discord is on the ball. They answer questions really fast. Now, they just recently released the latest version of NuPhy console, and they fixed a lot of bugs. It's getting much better. it's a closed source software, but it's one that they're working on. It does not look that similar to other closed source software. And it is not QMK Via, but it's one of the closest closed source softwares that I've seen come to a really good interface. It's easy to understand. It's powerful. It does what you need it to do. You can remap practically anything. It's pretty good, and I do plan to do a video on it here soon, especially now that I've received this one, because I wanted to try all the different keyboards on it. Now, out of the bag, we can see a really nice keyboard. I love the bottom ABS frame, has these little ridges on it, and then the cold steel, or cold aluminum, not cold steel. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of how NuPhy has their logo kind of as a just bezeled out or indented out of the aluminum, because it's there so you know what keyboard it is, but it's not in your face like some brands just have to put it in your face. That's a good way of doing it, in my opinion. So we have the 1800 96% layout. We still have the blocker, as we do on both the 75 and the 65, so that's a plus. Now, one thing I know people are going to complain about, but this is just the way that layouts with 96% are. You're not going to have the full size zero. Thankfully, especially in my experience, thankfully the majority of keycap sets do include both zeros, both the single zero as well as the wide zero. But other than that, you're going to have, as long as you get a keycap set that's compatible, like say, there's some that's only like, TKL, 60% TKL full size. And any other in between, forget about it, because they don't have the shorty shift. As long as you got a set that's compatible with a 65% and the full kit, you should have all the keys that you need. But granted, I'm a big fan of these keycaps, not only how they feel, but their profile. They call this profile a KOP. I like the fact that it's pretty tall, but yet not too tall. And it's ergonomic, but not too ergonomic, where you're looking at a huge difference in height between rows. The height difference is it's minimal, but it's there, so at least your fingers can say, hey, we're on the wrong row, buddy, get down. So, and we've got, I like their color combo. I think they call it beach, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to say that it is, so don't quote me as that. Now we do have, and now I have both a black and a white Halo. The cable always matches the color of the case, which is nice. It's nylon, and it's not coiled, which it doesn't have to be. We've got a good keycap and switch puller. It's one of my favorites besides the CIY for pulling out switches and keycaps. And we have a sample of one of each of the switches. I think I said 7 and 6. 6 switches that you can get. You've got your the one. We're having this. I think we have. I want to say this one has baby raccoons. Yep, we got baby raccoons in here. So this is a baby raccoon. This is a Night Breeze. This is a Rose Glacier tactile. This one is the raccoon is linear. The baby kangaroo is a tactile. And then we have the Gateron G Pros. Then we have an extra set of keys, which is really nice. You got your Windows keys to replace the Mac keys. And then you've got some different accent keys in case you want to change your escape to black or your escape to orange. I gotta say, more keyboard manufacturers need to follow this. Not only is that a nice little, accessory kit, and it's nicely packaged, it includes extra keys and extra switches, which should always be included. I am not a fan when manufacturers just say, we'll just put both of the symbols on the key. Because, it's like, okay, which one applies right now? But if I'm only Mac or if I'm only Windows or Linux, then that's all the keys that I need. But if I can't switch them out or I got to get another keycap set, it's like, well, then why did I buy this one already pre-built? So I like that they give you that option. Any pre-built that you buy, in my opinion, should come with extra keys. Not only for Windows and Mac, but perhaps for different accent keys. Now, I got to say, I do love this colorway. key just decided to disappear into the nether region for a second, but there it is. So yeah, this is the baby raccoon. A very nice medium weight linear from Gatoron and NuPhy. No. I think the top two are Gatoron or NuPhy. No, hold on. Yeah, because these are Gatoron, and the other ones, I believe, are branded NuPhy, if I'm not mistaken. But they're all made by Gatoron. Looks like it has a nylon bottom, polycarbonate top, and perhaps a palm stem. I don't know. I don't recall the specs offhand. I deal with so many switches. But so we can take a look inside here real quick. We're not opening it up today, but I'll be back and we will be opening all of these up. So we have a dampening, which is very likely, I don't know, it could be silicone, but it most likely is Poron. Now the one thing that I have noticed, and I don't know if you guys can see, but that's black. If you're looking at one of the Halo whites, that's going to be white. So not only does the cable match, but literally what's inside matches the color of the keyboard. I mean, that's thoughtful. They put thought into this design. I've seen too many designs that was like, that's good enough. Leave it like that. Other keyboards are like that. That's fine. I don't think that's a great way to innovate. I think NuPhy Studios is innovating. I think they've done a great job with this keyboard. I'm honestly looking forward to seeing what else they come out with. I know they just came out with a new Air. I only have two low profile keyboards, and while I won't say they're my first to reach for, I do like them when traveling because they're ultra light and they fit just about anywhere. I especially like the ones that sit right on top of the laptop frame because they're just slightly better than laptop keys. They still have, to me, that flat profile, chiclet kind of feel. But I mean, it's their Air 65. I just saw their promotional video for, and I drooled a little bit. I want to take a look at it. I think it's really well done. But the fact that they're literally matching the colors in the case dampening as well as the plate PCB dampening, that's pretty cool. So anyway, we got an IPX sheet in here, and we've got plenty of dampening, as it says in the box. We also have north-facing LEDs, which will not be a problem with this keycap set, and should not be a problem with these newer switches and cherry. I will give it a shot with one of my thicker cherry keycap sets in one of the videos that I have upcoming when I do some mods, so we can try their stuff out. But most pre-builts that I get, after I've done a review and I decide that I'm going to keep it, one of the first thing that goes is the keycaps. I may keep the switches if they're fine once I donut dip the switch spring, but on, I want to say, I think every keyboard that I've bought pre-built, one of the first things that comes off, I grab a Ziploc baggie, take all the keys that it came with off, and throw it in the box. And then I find the keycap set that I want to use. So that's why, for the most part, I do buy bare bones. But this Halo does not come in a bare bones version, which is fine by me, because this is the first time I've had a keyboard that I've been like, you know what? I want to keep that keycap set on there. Not only do I like how they look, I like how they sound. And just like with their other keyboards, they have a little special magic in the spacebar. Now, this is something, again, that they've innovated that I have not seen any other company do. But as you can see, the center stud almost looks like a key that has been inserted in there. I don't think this comes out. I've tried to take them out before, but I don't want to break it. But it has these two, there's some sort of plastic. It's not a resin, although it kind of feels like it. But what it does, technically, from what I gathered, is when you press it down, any vibrations that happen that would normally create that hollow, that noise that we just have to shut down on the space bar, it takes it away. It gets rid of it. Because these end up reverberating, and because whatever material they are, they don't make any noise. So this captures, just like when you don't dip a spring, you're preventing the spring from vibrating, which makes it reverberate the sound after you've pressed it, because it's a spring, it's going to shake. But if you got that grease in there, that's going to basically say, hey, that's going to stop that spring from shaking. It's going to move up and down, and it's going to stop. That's why it eliminates the ping. So this basically takes that sound and moves it into these little plastic wings, or resin wings, whatever they are. I gotta ask Madison what they're made out of, or maybe it's secret. I don't know. And they do such an amazing job at not muting the space bar, but just making it sound nice and deep instead of a plasticky, hollow kind of clack that I'm sure you guys know. Now, when it comes to stabilizers, they do come with plate-mounted stabilizers, and they are a tad bit loose. I've seen it on all of them, but they are pre-lubricated, and I have heard no tick on the other ones, or any discernible tick, even though that's just slightly, I mean, it's the tiniest amount, but it does move. Now, does it have PCB support for stabilizers, for plate-mounted stabilizers, or PCB-mounted stabilizers? I don't know. That's something we'll find out when we get there. I'm going to say probably not. I think that the way they designed it is the way they intended it for it to be. But like I said, once you stick this spacebar in, I mean, I usually have to tune most keyboards for a minute or two before I get anything close to this. So while there are plate-mounted stabilizers, you're not really losing out, because they are good stabilizers. They match the color scheme, and they do a good job stock. Like I said, this is one of the few keyboards that I can say, all right, take it out of the box and go have fun. Why? Because it's so well built, and they put a lot of thought into the design of this. Like I said, when I first saw NuPhy Studios, I think the first thing I bought from them was their version of the Tester 68, which was the Test 68, and came in 3 neon colors, like a yellow green, a bluish teal, and a really bright orange. And I still have them. They're great keyboards. They still work. They're the Testers. And I also bought a keycap set that was meant for one of their Airs, but it worked on my Keychron and my K3, I think. K2, K3. I can't remember. I can't keep up with Keychron. I mean, the models, numbers, just, I don't know. I don't think they match up to something that, you could logically translate in your head. But that's just me. So yeah, this keyboard, just at first glance, I mean, it, for me anyway, it speaks to me. Now, like I said, I've grown very fond of the other 2 models, and this one may end up being my permanent daily driver, although I'm always going to circulate through keyboards, because, I mean, once I do a review, and especially if I keep the keyboard and I'm going to come back to it to mod it, I want to use it so that I have, some more insights than just, I pulled it out of the box and I did a sound test. No, I want to use them. That's why I like keyboards, to use them. Yeah, I like them pretty, and I like to display them, but that keyboard, I should be able to pull it down and start using it, and it should make me happy, or at least be a pleasant experience. Not that a keyboard can make you happy, but not that it can't. Let's get technical. Today we're taking a look at the Halo96 from NuPhy Studio. It is a 99 key, 3-mode, wireless pre-built keyboard with an aluminum frame and an ABS bottom case. The keycaps are double-shot PBT in the KOP profile. It also includes 18 extra keys for both Windows and Mac, as well as different accent keys. It comes stock with a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and also has an option to purchase the shine-through keycaps. It has a unique RGB diffuser that is not seen in any other keyboard, where it diffuses the side LEDs both on the inside perimeter and the outside perimeter of the case. This keyboard MSRPs for $139.95. Default, this keyboard chin sits at 21 millimeters, while the back sits at 32 millimeters, giving you a typing angle of 7 degrees. If you use the first set of feet to raise up the back, you will get a height of 40 millimeters and a typing angle of 10 degrees. Using the final pair of feet, you can raise the height of the back to 47.5 millimeters with a typing angle of 14 degrees. So today we took a look at the Halo96 from NuPhy Studios. And I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. NuPhy? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but don't hate me. Anyway, they were kind enough not only to send out this keyboard for review, my honest review. They've been very kind. They don't pressure me. Actually, Madison was like, hey, if you want to review it, I'm like, well, of course I'm going to review it. I mean, you're sending it to me. So she just, I've had a couple of keyboard companies actually reach out to me and tell me that they enjoy my videos and they like that I've been honest with them. And I've got a couple of companies actually wanting me to talk to their product development team, which excites me. It really does, because if I can help, manufacturers incorporate some of the things that a lot of us hobbyists, would like to try, they're going to build better products and customers are going to be happier. So I relish the opportunity to, talk to these development teams and share my thoughts and opinions. So I appreciate the communication with these companies. I have some companies I just won't deal with. I just won't, for one reason or the other, but it's usually on principle. They also were kind enough to send me a matching wrist rest. Let's see if I can. Oh, so I couldn't open it before. It's got a sticker. Now we do have some sticky pads if you want to add more stickiness to it, but I found that on mats, it's pretty good at staying where you want it to stay. So it is quite nice that it's matching. It is a resin. It's super smooth. I mean, I use wrist rests for a while, but I always went for the soft ones, and though they might be comfortable in the short run, they can cause pain in the long run. Now, there's one thing that I'd like to point out that I really like about these Halo series keyboards. Some might find it basic, but I think it's actually a pretty good design cue, and it's something I wish more companies would use. Now we can see throughout we have this green cyan kind of a turquoise highlight color. Well, if you look over here, that's the same color as your 2.4 gigahertz dongle. So anytime you come across this, if it happened to fall out, which I don't think it would unless it dropped the entire keyboard because it's well pocketed, you're going to know that it goes to a Halo keyboard, because practically the majority of 2.4 gigahertz dongles are black. I've seen a couple that are white, but this is the first time I've personally seen a dongle that matches accent colors on the keyboard. So the design language of the Halo series, in my opinion, they put a lot of thought into it. They took, and learned from mistakes maybe others had made. I've got to believe they bought a whole bunch of keyboards to test and figure out what they liked and didn't like. But there was a lot of thought and effort put into the design of these keyboards. And that's why a lot of times, people ask me all the time for suggestions of keyboards, and I'll randomly give them keyboards, but many times they ask for specifics, and this matches a lot of specifics. And some people at first are like, but I've received feedback from handful of users that have purchased the Halo, and they come back to me, I just got my Halo. Oh my God, you were right. This keyboard really is different, and it's nice because it is different. This keyboard, they put a little bit more thought and effort. This is something that I wish more manufacturers would do. Not copying Halo, but taking the time to sit down and design something that is actually innovative, that is actually pushing things forward. Even if it's only one small step at a time, at least you're moving forward. Just copying stuff that's been done before, what makes your product stand out? Halo series of keyboards, to me, stand out above the rest. They also included their shine-through keycaps. I also have for the Halo 65 and the 75, and you can add them as an option when you're purchasing the keyboard for, I believe, $19. Which usually I would say, shine through keycaps, but these are some of the thickest shine through keycaps I think I've ever come across. The body width is 1.5, and it's a full double shot, which means, I don't know if you've seen some of the double shots, even this double shot, though it doesn't affect it, this double shot stays with the white part only at the top of the keycap, though these keycaps are still 1.3 millimeters thick. But as you can see, the shine through keycap actually has a thicker body because the double shot goes all the way around the inner perimeter of the keycap, and it actually has a pretty decent sound. So it will change the sound profile, but I don't think it's going to change it in a way you might dislike. But if you like shine through keycaps, this is a decent set because you're going to have a matching set. Bottom key's got a little discombobulated there, but we have plenty of options. We have all the function row keys, and like I said, we've got the extras. Well, since it's really just black, I mean that's another thing. If you prefer just all black, well, and you can go with the accent key, or you can use the other key. But honestly, I'm impressed. I think these are the thickest shine through keycaps that I've come across, and I'm actually, though I'm going to be trying them on here, I probably at some point will give them a try on another keyboard, because I like how some shine through keycaps look, but then I go to type and I'm like, oh, that's why I don't have these loaded up on here, because yeah. So I will be coming back to this keyboard in the near future to do a sound test with these shine through keycaps, and I probably will do, I know I will be doing a sound test also with the switches, not lubed, because I've pretty much moved away from lubing switches. I'm just donut dipping the springs to get rid of the spring ping. Everything else is fine. So anyway, I will come back with that, but today I'm going to leave you guys with a stock sound test of the Halo 96 from NuPhy Studios. It is an 1800 96%, 99 key, 3-mode wireless with a 4,000 milliamp hour battery that retails for $139.95. But if you are inclined to purchase it and want a 10% discount, you're welcome to use MechTech to get 10% off the keyboard, keycaps, anything you might add into the order. You will get a 10% discount. So that's an extra bonus. So anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with a stock sound test of the Halo 96. And I expect, honestly, I kind of know what to expect already, because, I mean, this is my third sound test with a NuPhy keyboard, let me go. This is my third sound test with a NuPhy Halo series keyboard, and the other two have not disappointed. I doubt this one will either. So I'll leave you guys with the sound test, and until the next transmission, keep calm and keyboard on.